Very good morning. I am Dr. Sangeeta. Today I have come here to present a topic on blood. How can you define a blood? So it is a specialized body fluid in humans and animals that delivers the necessary substances such as nutrients and oxygen to the cells and transports the metabolic waste products away from those same cells. That is defined as the blood. And the study of blood is called hematology. Hematology. The study of blood is called hematology. Okay, now this blood is divided into two. One you call it as plasma, the other one you call it as the platelets. One is called as plasma, the other one is called as the platelets. What is plasma? Plasma is nothing but a liquid portion of the blood, that is our red blood cells, white blood cells constitute plasma. And what are the blood platelets? They are suspended in plasma as they move throughout our bodies. So that is the definition for plasma and platelets respectively. Now, we'll go for the explanation for plasma. What is the color of the plasma and all. So, as I already told you, plasma is a liquid part of the blood which is straw colored and very clear. It is slightly alkaline in nature. So, about 85% of the plasma is water. The chemical composition of the plasma differs in different vertebrates. There will be organic as well as inorganic. They will be having the organic and the inorganic compounds. Now talking about the inorganic components of plasma. So several inorganic salts are present. What are all they? They are chlorides, bicarbonates, phosphates, sulfates of sodium, potassium, calcium and magnesium. And of course a few parts of ferrous, phosphorus and iodine are also present. They are all present in the minute traces. Fine. What is the total salt content present in the blood plasma? The total salt content in plasma is about 0.85 to 0.9%. The salt content present in the blood plasma is 0.85, that is 0.85 to 0.9%. Okay. Gases such as carbon dioxide, oxygen, they are present in the small amounts in the blood plasma. These gases, they are in the dissolved state in plasma. I hope you understood plasma. What is plasma and what are all the organic and inorganic compounds present. Now talking about the organic components of the blood plasma, that is 6 to 8% of plasma is represented by the organic compounds. That is the sugar, the glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, urea, lipids and proteins. They are the major organic compounds of the plasma. So the blood will also contain a substance called heparin. What do you call it as? Heparin. Heparin. Heparin is called as heparin, which prevents the blood from clotting, coagulation in the blood vessels. There are different types of proteins in the blood plasma. Now talking about the plasma proteins, it has got three. One is called albumins, the second one is globulins, third one is fibrinogens. These are all the proteins present in the plasma. One is called albumins, the second one is globulins, and third one is the fibrinogens. Talking about albumin, what is albumin? It helps in the transport of some substances and maintaining the osmotic pressure in the blood. That is the albumin. Talking about the globulins, they are of different types. What are the functions? What do they do? They participate in the transport of substances, defense reaction of the body, and maintaining the osmotic pressure. And talking about the fibrinogen, or you call it and prothrombin, these blood proteins, they help in the coagulation of blood. Coagulation, otherwise you can say clotting, blood clotting. So when the blood vessel is injured, in addition to these proteins, there are several enzymes present in the blood plasma. So plasma without clotting factors, you call it as serum. Without clotting factor, you call it as serum. I hope you understood. Now, talking about the components, the cell components, or the cellular components of blood, it is divided into three types. You say blood cells or blood corpuscles, anything. So they are divided into three types. One is called red blood cells. Second, white blood cells. And the third one is called platelets, blood platelets. RBCs, they are otherwise called as erythrocytes. They are called as erythrocytes. White blood cells are called leukocytes. These are otherwise called as thrombocytes. These white blood cells, they are further divided into two types. They are called as granulocytes, and the other one is called as agranulocytes. So we have seen the components of the blood: red blood cells, white blood cells, and blood platelets. So red blood cells are called as erythrocytes, white blood cells are called leukocytes, and platelets are called as thrombocytes. These granulocytes, when I told you WBCs, they are called leukocytes. They are divided into granulocytes and agranulocytes. These granulocytes are further divided into three types. They are called eosinophil, basophil, and neutrophils. These three. And agranulocytes, they are divided into two. One is called lymphocytes. The other one is called monocytes. I think you people are very clear in this. Now, let me give the explanation for each. Now we'll see the erythrocytes, the RBCs. What are RBCs? They are the red blood cells. They are non-nucleated in the adults. So the number of RBCs is more in children than in the adults. Talking about the shape of RBCs, it is circular and biconcave in shape. Immature RBCs, they've got all the organelles. After maturation, the organelles like nucleus, mitochondria, lysosome, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, they disappear in RBCs. Therefore, mature RBCs, they have only the plasma membrane and the cytoplasm. Talking about the RBCs, they carry the oxygen from the lungs. So, these are the most numerous cells in the body. A healthy adult man has on average 5 million to 5.5 million cells per microliter. So the number of RBCs, they are more in children than in the adults. Understand? So what is the shape of RBCs? The RBCs, they are circular and it is biconcave in its shape. So after maturation, what happens? The organelles like nucleus, mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, then ribosome, they will etc. Will disappear in RBCs. So therefore, the mature RBCs, it has only plasma membrane and cytoplasm. It has only plasma membrane and cytoplasm. It has only these two. Which one? Plasma membrane and the cytoplasm. Fine. Whether the RBCs are nucleated or non-nucleated? RBCs are non-nucleated. Okay. They are non-nucleated. So, in the case of mammals such as camel, the RBCs has got a nucleus. So, these RBCs, they are nucleated and it is large in size. In adults, the RBCs are formed only in the bone marrow, while in the embryonic stages, they are formed in the liver as well as in the spleen. I hope you understood. Now, production of RBCs. Is called what? The production of RBCs is called erythropoiesis. 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 The production of RBCs is called erythropoiesis. Okay. RBCs, they live for 120 days. The lifespan of RBCs is 120 days in the blood. So what is happening? The old RBCs are getting destroyed in the spleen and to some extent in the liver. So therefore, the spleen is called as a graveyard of RBCs. Every day, 10 into 10 to the power of 12 RBCs, they are destroyed and the same number of new blood cells are added to the blood. Fine. And RBCs has got one more thing. What is that? They are having a hemoglobin in their cytoplasm. So hemoglobin means what? Which is giving the red color, pigment. The red color of RBCs and of the blood is due to the hemoglobin. So this is made up of protein, that is globin, iron, that is heme, and the organic molecule called porphyrin. They are called as porphyrin. They are called as porphyrin. Porphyrin. What is the main part of the hemoglobin? The hemoglobin, it takes part in the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Fine. So what is, we have told you the, what is the function of the hemoglobin? It means it takes part in the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, put the date. Alright. A healthy individual has got 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobins in every 100 ml of blood. A healthy individual should have at least 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin in every 100 ml of blood. Okay. So the RBCs, they are, as I already told you, the lifespan of RBCs is 120 days, after which they are destroyed in the spleen. I hope you are clear with the RBCs now. Now talking about the leukocytes. Now talking about the leukocytes. What are leukocytes? The leukocytes, otherwise called as WBCs. Leukocytes. Okay. The leukocytes, they help to fight the infection. So the main thing of the WBCs is they help to fight the infection. Okay. They are also called as WBCs, that is white blood cells or white blood corpuscles. They do not have the pigment. The name implies, the name indicates they are white blood cells. Okay, they do not have the hemoglobin. So they are less numerous than the RBCs and the number average is like 6,000 to 8,000 per microliter of blood. So the number increases under the disease conditions. Leukocytes, they are short-lived. they live only for 12 to 13 days, whereas RBCs, the lifespan, it is for 120 days. Okay, so how is the new WBCs they are formed? New WBCs, they are formed in the lymph nodes. They are formed in lymph nodes. They are formed in the lymph nodes, spleen and thymus. Fine. Okay. The old WBCs are destroyed in the blood, liver and lymph. So WBCs, they move like amoeba and feed on the foreign germs that enter the body. Therefore, the WBCs, they are also called as what? Phagocytes. They are also called as phagocytes. Phagocytes. As I already told you, the leukocytes, they are divided into two types. They are the granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes, they have the granules in the cytoplasm. So agranulocytes, they do not have the granules in the cytoplasm. Granulocytes, they are of three types. Eosinophils, this is eosinophils, basophils and the neutrophils. We will see what is eosinophils. Eosinophils means, eosinophils, they are acidic dyes. Eosinophils, they are stained with acidic dyes, therefore they are called as acidophils or eosinophils. Their color will be bright red or pinkish in color. When staining, you will be having a bright red or pinkish color. Bright red or pinkish color. This is eosinophils. Okay. The nucleus of the cells, they will be having two lobes which they are connected by a bridge. So the cytoplasm of these cells, they have got a very large sized granules. These cells, what will happen is they will attack the parasites and they also help to reduce the allergic reactions in the body. So the number of eosinophils increases during the allergy conditions. So they also engulf the particles formed due to antigen-antibody interactions and destroy the toxins which is entering the body. This is the eosinophils, or it is otherwise called as the acidophils. Now talking about the basophils. So these cells, they can be stained with the basic dyes, therefore they are called basophils. It may be like blue or purple color. Blue or purple color. Okay. So the nucleus is elongated and it will be in the shape of the letter S. So the granules in the cytoplasm, they are round, large and they are few in number. So these cells, they are phagocytic in nature and play a part in healing process. Compared to all, the WBCs are fewer in number. They're very few in number. Now talking about the neutrophils. These cells can be stained with the neutral dyes. They can be stained with the neutral dyes. So nucleus in the cells, they have got 5 to 6 lobes and cytoplasm has got a large number of closely packed granules. So these cells search and engulf the bacteria. They kill the bacteria inside the cytoplasm. So they are otherwise called, they are the microscopic policemen of the body. So they are also called the body's first line of defense against the bacterial infections. Compared to all types of WBCs, they are present in large number. Fine. So we have covered granulocytes. Now talking about the agranulocytes. Now what are the types of agranulocytes? Agranulocytes, they are having two types. One is lymphocytes, The other one is called as the monocytes. As I told you already, the agranulocyte, the cells, they do not have the granular material in their cytoplasm. So now talking about the lymphocytes. What are the lymphocytes? They are the smallest cells of all the WBCs. These cells, they have the thin layer of cytoplasm and a large nucleus, and they have a round large nucleus. So these cells, they will recognize the antigens that enter the blood and produce the antibodies against them. So what are the antigens? Antigens are what? They are the large molecules of proteins present in the surface of the pathogens, maybe bacteria, fungi or the virus. So these cells, they play a very key role in the development of immunity against the disease, against the disease. This disease in the AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, the cells, they are weakened and destroyed by the AIDS virus. As a result, the resistance to other diseases is lost and a person with AIDS becomes vulnerable to other infectious diseases. These are the functions of the lymphocytes. And now talking about the monocytes, these are the biggest of all the WBCs. The monocytes, they are the biggest of all WBCs. What is the shape of the nucleus? It is kidney shaped. So these cells, what will happen? It will invade the injected areas and it will kill the bacteria. They also remove the dead bacteria, dead cells and other foreign material present in the injected area. The blood platelets, they are called as thrombocytes. So these are the parts of cells that the body uses for clotting. So these are the oval or round or biconvex in shape. Platelets, they do not have nucleus but have cytoplasm. So these cells play an important role in the clotting of blood. So when the blood vessel is getting injured, the platelets collect at the site of the injury and they form a plug. So this reduces the loss of blood to some extent. So they also release several factors into the blood which helps in blood clotting and in the repair and healing of the blood vessels. So a reduction in the number can lead to the clotting disorders which will lead to the excessive loss of blood from the body. So these are all the functions of blood platelets. Now talking about serum, what is serum actually? So serum means it is a serum is a fluid portion of blood collected after the blood is allowed to clot. So it is similar to plasma except some proteins and clotting factors are absent in serum. So the serum is also used for blood transfusion. This is also used for blood transfusion. Now the main thing we are going to talk about is clotting of blood. How does a blood clot? How the blood clot? Clotting of blood. This is called hemostasis. Hemostasis. They are called hemostasis. Hemostasis means it is a sequence of responses that stops bleeding and hence a blood vessel is injured. A number of physiological mechanisms are activated that promote hemostasis. So breakage of the blood vessel exposes the collagen proteins to the blood. So this initiates three separate but overlapping homeostatic mechanisms. Now I'll tell you how does a clot is formed. We'll see the formation of clot. Formation of clot. You call it as fibrin web. So the activator substances from the injured vascular wall, platelets and blood proteins adhering to the injured vascular wall initiate the clotting process. This clot is a web of fibrin with the blood cells trapped in it. And now we'll see what are all the essential steps involved in clotting. First one will be the formation of prothrombin. First one is formation of prothrombin. Formation of prothrombin activator. Activation of prothrombin. Activation of prothrombin. And last one is formation of fibrin. Formation of fibrin. These are the 3 steps which is involved in the formation of the clot. The clotting takes place in the 3 essential steps. Now we'll see the formation of prothrombin activator. One will be the intrinsic pathway. What is intrinsic pathway? It occurs when the blood is exposed to the collagen of injured wall of blood vessel. So this activates factor 12, and in turn it activates another clotting factor which activates yet another reaction in the you call it as in a cascade fashion. Okay, so this results in the formation of prothrombin activator. And now talking about the extrinsic pathway, it occurs when the damaged vascular wall or extravascular tissue comes in contact with the blood. Damaged vascular wall releases tissue called thromboplastin. It activates a factor called factor 7. As a result of a cascade of reactions, the final product formed is prothrombin activator. Okay, so a cascade reaction, it is a series of chemical reactions or physiological processes that occur in successive stages. So each of which is dependent of the preceding one to produce an effect, culminating effect. Okay, this is the step 1 what I was talking about. The step 2, activation of prothrombin. So what is happening here? The prothrombin activated in the presence of sufficient amounts of iron, the C2 plus iron, will convert the inactive prothrombin to active thrombin. Finally, how does a fibrin form? The formation of fibrin is the thrombin will convert the soluble protein fibrinogen into soluble fibrin monomers which are held together by the weak hydrogen bonds. So this fibrin stabilizing factor released from the platelets, it will replace the hydrogen bonds with the covalent bond, the sharing of bonds, and cross links the fibers to form a meshwork. So this insoluble meshwork of fibrin fibers spreading in all directions adhere to the damaged surfaces and trap the blood cells and platelets. So these are all the steps involved in the formation of the clot. Okay, we'll see the functions of blood. Functions of blood. Blood supplies oxygen to the tissues, is it not? It supplies oxygen to the tissues. Supply of nutrients. Supply of nutrients like glucose, etc. And fatty glucose, you can take amino acids, fatty acids. Okay, supplies oxygen to the tissues, supply of nutrients like glucose, amino acids and fatty acids. Removal of waste. What will be the removal of waste? That is carbon dioxide, urea. Carbon dioxide, urea, and you can say lactic acid. And fourth one will be the circulation of WBC and direction of the foreign material by antibodies. Circulation of WBCs and direction of foreign particles. And direction of the foreign material by antibodies. Okay. Then comes coagulation, which is a part of the body's self-repair mechanism. We can talk about coagulation. That is a blood clotting. Coagulation is a part of the body's self-repair mechanism. And sixth, we can say messenger function. It is the messenger function. It includes what? Messenger means what? It is transporting. It includes the transport of hormones. It includes the transport of hormones. And then you can say regulation of you can say the regulation of body pH. Regulation of body pH. You can then regulation of body temperature. Regulation of body temperature. And this wonderful tissue is, this blood is also called as a tissue, I told you. So this is easily, it can transfusion, blood transfusion. So these are all the functions of the blood. So in the next class, I will tell you about the blood groups. Bye for now. Thank you.